Are you gonna break the awkwardness?
Yeah.
Your intro for the last one was so good.
The first one?
Yeah.
The second one was even funnier.
Yeah, the second one's good.
Welcome to the third episode of Content Creators Podcast with special guest Katie Marie, also known as Katie Silva. But you're gonna explain why it's called Katie Marie today.
I'll explain.
That's gonna be one of the.
So this episode we're basically gonna talk about how Katie became a photographer.
It's all about you.
Ooh.
It's all about Katie. We should just put the lights on her.
Yeah.
We're not even that important. And you're probably wondering why this is here. We'll tell you that in a second. Very cool thing that just happened today. It was today, right?
It was today, yeah.
Yeah.
Good time.
And for the people that are listening through audio, you won't know what we're pointing at.
Yeah, we won't know.
But
we'll try to describe it.
It's a screen with a ring and chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying for now.
Those look good though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I just had polenta too, and I'm hungry already. Oh my god.
So
You're welcome.
I had to say it on camera. I know we already said it too.
I picked them up coffee on my way here, people.
I had to lower my sugar. Drinking
Tim
too much
Hortons
sugar.
coffee. Tim Hortons coffee. Okay, so we're gonna ask you what we did the first episode.
Yep.
How did you get into photography?
Okay, I have been like a closet photographer as long as I can remember. I remember just bringing my little tiny like Sony point and shoot camera everywhere.
The
I went.
A6000.
No, this is like way before
I remember.
that.
I don't know why.
This is like the little tiny guys, like smaller than your phone. Remember you used to carry them around?
Oh,
They
yeah.
flashed and you hung them on your wrist, and I carried that thing around everywhere. Like all like
Point and shoot.
high school parties. Yeah, the point and shoot camera. I carried that thing everywhere. People make fun of me all the time. They're like, "Will you put that damn thing away?"
That's
and I'm
crazy.
like, "No, I have to document everything." So I have been obsessed with taking pictures and obsessed with documenting memories for as long as I can remember. I've always owned DSLR cameras and never knew how to use them. One day I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'm sick of it sitting in my closet just taking up space. I'm gonna go learn how to use it. So I literally watched like one YouTube video, took my friend to a field, took pictures of her, and
Is that
my
blonde
phone-
girl?
No, it's my friend Jen. I took her to a field. She was the second
I remember
shoot.
that
You're
one.
thinking of that one. Yeah. That was the second time. And I took her to a field and I took pictures of her and I posted them and my phone blew up. Like people are like, what do you charge? Take pictures of me and my family. Like, let's do this. And it just from there, it kind of like blossomed into this crazy thing that has just evolved into Katie Marie photography. But that's kind of how I got into it. But yeah, I'd say I've always had a passion for it.
I don't
Got
even
made
know
fun
how
of.
I had you on Facebook.
I don't know. I want to say like.
But I remember you
Club
posted.
days, because you were a club
Yeah.
photographer, weren't you?
I was.
Aura.
That's how it started.
Probably.
Or a rock bar?
Aura, Rock Bar, Candy Bar, Sizzle.
Honestly, my love
All
of
of us.
pictures, I probably stalked you to get the pictures of me from
Uh-huh.
when you took them at the club. I always wanted connections
hunt?
with the photographers so I
Yeah.
could get the pictures early, but who knows?
I remember you posted that one photo. That one girl. I think she was a friend.
Yep.
The blonde
Allie.
girl. Yeah. And then I'm like, where did this girl come from? And then out of nowhere, you just started doing like portraits and then weddings too.
Yeah, so how I kind of started off, I did a lot of everything. Like I kind of dipped into all different types of photography. I started out doing a lot of like family, newborn, baby kind of shoots. I realized it wasn't for me. I hated doing like the prop setups and the little balloons and flowers
Yeah.
and stuff. Like it wasn't me. It wasn't making me happy. And I promised myself that if I was going to get into photography, it had to be something that I loved doing. And it had to be a passion job. And I wasn't feeling the passion from that. So I kind of shifted gears and taking on more like couples and lifestyle. And I absolutely fell in love with the art of capturing moments as they happen and kind of being like paparazzi almost and photojournalistic, right? So once I realized the difference between a photojournalistic photographer and a studio photographer, I realized I'm a photojournalistic photographer. Weddings, I kind of just stumbled into them. My first wedding was a 1,500 person wedding.
Oh my gosh.
I shot it on my own. One of my videographer friends, he's like, I have a wedding, they need a photographer, I think you can do it. And I'm like, dude,
Aaron?
no, my
And what-
friend Ilbron, shout out to Ilbron.
I think I know, but
You better
Yeah.
send this to him.
He's like, no, I
What
believe in you,
camera
I
were you
believe in
shooting at the time?
So I started my business with the A6000.
I remember that.
That was what I did my first few family shoots on. And then I bought his camera. So Ilbron was selling his Sony A99.
Wow, she didn't even have a DSLR.
I didn't
she
even
went
have a
straight to
DSLR.
mirrorless.
yeah.
And then stayed mirrorless.
I started on the Sony a6000. I built a business off of the Sony a6000. And then when I did weddings, I'm like, I cannot shoot a wedding with one camera.
You bought two.
So yeah, he was selling his old one and he sold me his A99. And that's kind of how I got into the A-mount world instead of the E-mount world where I'm transitioning to now.
Yeah.
But so I started off with that camera and I loved it. Like I had I had two lenses. I shot a wedding on two lenses. I had the 24 to 70 and a 50.
Which is a good
for-
lens to
It is
shoot
a
everything
great
on.
lens.
That's what I did
Yeah,
for video.
the whole
it's like
wedding,
a perfect
basically.
walk around lens.
Oh, it's still one of my favorite lenses
Yeah.
to this day. But I had that lens and I had the 50 for my A6000, and that's what I shot this entire wedding on. So 1,500 people. Katie by herself. Like I didn't even have a second.
Were you
shooter.
using
I was on my
flashes
own.
at the time?
I was using flash, but it was like a really crappy Sigma flash. Like I don't even know where it came from, but it barely
ain't no
worked.
Godox.
It barely worked. And so I had one flash, my one main camera, my backup camera, and me on my own, never shooting a wedding before, had no idea what I was doing, but I somehow pulled it off. And I said, if I can get through a 1,500 person wedding, I can get through anything. I think it was like a 17-hour day too.
Wow.
And he kind of told me, he's like, you're either going to hate weddings after this,
Or
or
love
you're
them.
gonna
Or
fall
love
in love.
And you
There's
fell in
no
love,
in
obviously.
between, and I fell in love, and I was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Being at a wedding and documenting a wedding is like the craziest thing. You guys know. You know how
Yeah.
That
much
was me.
fun.
know.
The first time I went to a wedding, you were there. That's where I
Yeah.
met
What was the first wedding? It was the
you. Club
one
Roma.
that she worked.
Oh,
She worked, yeah, the first one.
Yeah, I was alongside Dom for his first
Yeah.
wedding, everybody.
And
That was exciting.
Before that, I told myself, I'm not gonna do weddings. Then you're like,
Yeah.
yo, come do a wedding.
That was your
And
first wedding?
It was my first
Wow.
one. But I loved it. As soon as I did it,
You
I
love it.
loved doing it.
I
And I
dragged him
find-
along
yeah.
Because it's like you get to share that experience with.
That's why I love it.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
like
yeah.
most, I would say actually all of the weddings that I did, you become friends with them.
You
Yeah.
do.
I don't think there's
you
a
do.
one wedding where it's just like hi bye.
No.
You know, like let's take a shot. Let's party. Stay back and party.
Yeah.
Like Nicole's wedding, she wanted us to drop
The cameras off and come.
all the
back.
cameras,
nice.
get your girlfriends and come and party. I'm like, man, 16
had that
hours, I'm
before.
done. I'm going home.
I had a couple that they started playing pop punk songs, and that's my
Oh,
jam.
you like
Yeah.
no, you like the Brazilian.
I love. Okay, so I have two sides of me. There's either like the Spanish,
Yeah.
you know, reggaeton. I like that one. I'm obsessed with Daddy Yankee. Or I listen to like old school pop punk, like
Some
Taking Back
41,
Sunday and like Fall Out Boy. Those like
PBS is awesome.
That's literally all I listen to 24/7. And they started playing my songs, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not leaving tonight. I'm about to stay here all night.
That's a
with you
sick,
guys.
you know, it's a sick wedding when they're playing all that stuff.
Absolutely, and that was the thing too. Like the thing with weddings, you're conversing for so long. Like they book you a year in advance,
Yeah.
and then you're doing like engagement.
Or even
shoots
maybe like
with them.
2020, like that
Yeah,
one.
I have a couple 2020s booked for already. So I think I have 5 for 2020.
Really?
Already. Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy, but that's what I love about it. Like you get to know these people, and then by the time their wedding comes, it's like it feels like it's a friend, and it
Yeah,
feels like
exactly.
you're showing up and hanging out with a couple friends all day.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love the adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing for me in weddings. I don't know about you guys, but I work better under stress.
Yes, I love the
Yes,
stress.
yes,
Me-
and I
me
love
too.
the adrenaline
I love it. That's the
rush.
adrenaline.
Love-hate
Yes,
relationship with
yeah.
me. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I
You'll
don't.
get
Yeah.
used to
That
it.
stress is okay though. With
I
the
love-
camera, it's okay.
Yeah.
I love the stress.
You'll
It's
get
okay
used
with the
to it.
I'm a stress man.
And see, that's when I figured out, like, a lot of the photographers who prefer studio work, they like to be in control of things, and they like to set up their own things.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very slow paced. And when I was doing newborn sessions, that was my biggest
I remember
thing.
you
I
did.
hated about doing them, and they were so slow, and
Yeah.
you need to wait for the baby to go to sleep, and then you'd get one picture, and then you had to put it to sleep again, and it was just so dragged out. Where weddings are like go 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 go. You turn your head, something else is happening, and I love that. Like I thrive in those kind of environments, so it's right up my alley, and I love it.
Yeah, like, what was the term I was using? Everyone uses it. I forget.
What?
Run and gun.
Yeah,
run and gun,
yeah.
That's the best way for me. Like I find like as long as I'm doing something, then I get inspiration as I'm doing something.
Yeah, that's true.
And like how many times have you guys been caught in like things where you're like, oh, what do I do today, or what I film today, and then as soon as you start
Yep.
filming random crap, it's just like
You go with
you
it.
come up with all these ideas.
Yeah.
I know you do that all the time because every time you're like,
That's the
"Yo,
best how I
let's
work.
do-" Yeah, because
That's how I work
I
too.
I
yeah.
can't. If someone tells me they want it like this, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be present, and then I just come up with these random things, and then it
Absolutely.
happens way better.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause-
like
I can't
that
be
too.
told.
Yeah.
because you know the environment you're in,
Yes.
like lighting and angles and can I move over here and this
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah.
and,
Totally.
and it comes up with you come up with your own like.
Just spur of the moment.
Yeah, spur of the
that's
moment.
how I
So
would do
how
it.
long in did you sell that camera that you had, the first one?
I still have it.
Oh, you still have it?
I have 5 cameras right
What?
now
She's
that I'm
framing that
using.
Show me that one.
5 cameras.
I have 5. Yes, and I still use all of them to the full.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So I still have my A6000. I still have my A99. So after the A99, I upgraded to the A99 Mark II,
Yeah.
which is a newer version.
Which
and
is
then
like that's like
the
one of the
Pro.
best.
It's like the highest on the Sony
Yeah.
rank. Like there's the E
That-
mount
that-
series, and then there's the A mount, which
That's
is like
E
the
mount,
Pro
right?
series. Yeah. So the
Okay.
A99.
Would that be
Mark
similar
II.
to the A7 III?
It's twice the price. It's higher megapixels.
And it
I
shoots.
believe.
Oh, is it?
I think it's 40.
How about low light? Because everyone's like crazy
42.
about
But
the low light thing.
okay, so the thing is, I just upgraded to the A7 Mark III. I have 2
Yeah, yeah.
of them. That camera kicks butt to
low
my
light.
$5,000 camera in ISO.
I remember Frank's been waiting
Yeah.
to get the A7 III because it's like it's been on backorder for like
Yeah.
3-4 months. And then he's like, "Man, I've been waiting months to get this camera." Katie walked into Henry's and just picked one like it was nothing. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Man, she just walked out." And I'm still waiting for mine.
Still
You know what
haven't got it?
happened with
No, he
that?
still no, he did get it, but
Oh, I was gonna say he hasn't.
It was a fluke. I got 2 of them actually.
oh,
so.
I remember Frank told me the story.
Yeah, so what happened, I had put in a pre-order, and he's like, "Your number like 450 on the list," and I'm like, "Oh great, I'm gonna be waiting for this thing for a whole year." And he called me one day, a couple weeks after, and he's like, "We had somebody who returned one within like 12 hours. They realized
Yeah.
that they bought an E-mount camera, and none of
Oh,
their lenses
God.
worked on it."
Noob.
Yeah, and he's like, the thing literally isn't even touched. Like he barely even opened it because he couldn't use it.
And you got an extra battery too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Did they give you a little discount on it too?
We'll keep that DL. No. So basically,
Those batteries are expensive.
They are so expensive, but I got to beat like 400 people because he said, "Do you want to
Yeah.
take this returned one?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I will." Shout
That's
out
crazy.
to Donovan, my guy, Donovan. You're the best. But yeah, no.
Henry's?
Yeah, Henry. So what happened? So I went and picked up that camera. I'm like, "I'll be there in an hour. Like, save it, hold it for me." So
Yeah.
I flew to Henry's, picked up the camera, and then a week later he calls me. He's like, "Katie, we never canceled your original back order, or your pre-order.
Oh.
So your
And it came
actual
in.
camera's in. Do you want this one too?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm there."
Wow.
Got
So
2,
now I
yeah.
have 5 cameras.
We should have brought some more cameras from different angles.
You
Yeah.
should have. Yeah, I would have brought
Could have put
mine.
like one right there.
Yeah.
One
But
from here.
eventually, the plan is to move totally over to E-mount. I have half lenses with E-mount, half with A. So
Can't you get an
I'm
A
gonna
mount
sell everything.
A mount to E
You
or E?
can, but I don't like using adapters
Yeah.
because it messes with the autofocus.
What
and I don't
would
like
you think
doing
is
that.
better, the A mount or the E mount? Or sorry, the A99 Mark II or the A7 III?
I prefer
Put
now.
put aside the megapixel count.
Megapixel is the big difference
Yeah.
between the two of
Yeah.
them, but if I had to pick for me and my little chicken arms that can't hold
Yeah.
anything, the A7 is like half the weight. The lenses are half the weight.
That's
and
true.
I find just the overall, like, using it, like, the touch of the buttons are so much nicer than the A99, and, like, the A99 is kind of sticky, and my friend who has the A7, she held my camera when she's like, "Holy crap, it's, like, bulky," and I don't know, the buttons are kind of sticky, that's just the design of it. So personally, I like
smaller
the
camera.
A7 way better than the A99.
Well, Andre
and I
has
could get
one.
2 for the
he's got
price of my A99 Mark
Yeah,
II.
the
so-
A9's like 5 or 6.
yeah, it came
Or
to
4?
just under 6 after taxes. Yeah, so
Wow.
it was an expensive.
One
You
DX
paid
Mark
for
II.
two A7 IIIs.
Yes, for the price of my one
For the
camera.
price of your one camera.
So
That's good.
yeah, but I might still keep it just to have as
Yeah,
a backup, and if I do need
Which
the
is
extra
good.
megapixels, then at least I have it. So, but right now I've been shooting with the A7s at my last couple.
And the
weddings.
files are a lot smaller on the A7
They,
III.
you know what? They're similar. Like
Really?
they're not that bad. The megapixels are lower, but the file sizes are roughly the same.
Wow.
When they export at high res,
Have you noticed,
they're
like, a
between
bigger-
20 and 30 usually.
20-30 megabytes?
Yeah, in a JPEG. Yeah, after.
Oh, after
exporting
export it?
high res. Yeah.
What would you say is the more dynamic range out of both cameras? Like to fix the shadows or the highlights, to bring down the highlights.
Highlights versus the shadows, yeah.
Mm.
Like what captures the most detail between the two?
That's a
I think the
tough
A7
one.
because editing the photos
Yeah.
the one time,
Yes.
I think
can
you
see
can
the
bring down,
difference.
man, like the A7 III. Apparently,
Yeah.
apparently the camera itself can produce 13 stops, but the sensor has like 15 stops.
And it's
I don't know
so
how that
fast.
works. I watched the video on it, and apparently you can shoot like 8K raw video by doing burst mode photos.
Yeah. It's
Really?
Yeah.
It's a bunch of photos and then you stitch it into a video.
It's so fast.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
80 photos equals 3 seconds of 24p footage in 8K
Oh.
resolution,
But you have-
but it's 12-bit, so it looks like raw,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. But
You have to constantly hold.
you
the
just
button.
hold it down and it goes like
That's
first
crazy.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to stitch all of that together after,
Yeah.
like you would do with the hyperlapse, and then I just saw a YouTube video.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It is sick.
Oh, it's awesome. I think the A7, but for me, like, I know my A mount lenses need to be
Oh, that
cleaned.
Sigma, that one Sigma mount that's falling apart. You should
don't
have brought
ever
it. You should have brought
buy
it. It's like
Sigma.
almost like a tilt shift lens now.
Okay, so my whole lens literally came apart in my hands. Like, it's actually dangling to the point where I can see the wires now.
That's funny.
And,
Which was it an art?
It's-
art
you
lens?
can
it's
see-
an art lens, and you know how
heard
many
it's good,
people
though.
had this problem?
Yeah,
I
but it's
asked a few
falling apart.
people.
Yeah, I know, it's
So
not good.
many people have this problem
Really?
with their Sigma lenses. Yeah, like tons of people. I asked it in a photographer group, and they're like, "Yeah, that happened to mine too." So I guess it's just the way they're made. They're made really loosely, and that's what you get for the price, I guess. But I will never go Sigma again.
No
Really?
warranty on
No.
those?
It's under a year. I bought it under a year ago,
So you
so
can
I'm
bring it
gonna
back.
I'm gonna take it in. To
I'll
get
do
it
it soon.
fixed. Yeah, but I think I'm gonna.
I wouldn't go
upgrade
to
the
Henry's.
Sony.
I would send it to direct Sigma.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do because I think it's covered for like a 7-year warranty. I think. or
Is
something
it?
like that.
Unless you bought the thing through Henry's, and you might as well use Henry's.
I did.
I
buy
know,
through
but they take
Henry's.
forever to ship. Because
Yeah.
if you go directly to Sigma, you can directly ship
Yeah.
it to Sigma. If you bring it to Henry's, they send it out when they want.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
And then again, it's Henry's.
I was trying to push it to the limit, and I was trying to use it till my last wedding. I'm like, I need it because it's my
Yeah.
go-to. My 35 is my go-to lens. Like,
The 35 is an amazing
it's
lens.
my favorite lens that I own, and I was like, I cannot shoot a wedding without it. It
Yeah.
made it to the second last wedding, and then it gave up on me, and I'm
Aw.
like, no. So I didn't have it at my last wedding, but yeah, it definitely 35 would be my.
I think we
favorite.
should get a little bit more on topic about like the business aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you planning to go full time or are you full time?
Right now, so for those who don't know, I do have a second job on top of photography. Crazy. I
Well, I'm
know.
not as deep as you guys. Are.
So I right
You
now
will
I
be.
work for the
One
city.
day.
I work in the mental health and addictions team, and I love it. I love what I do, but there is a possibility that I will be. I did actually just put in a request to take a little bit of time off next wedding season, so I'm gonna try it out to see how it goes, and from there we'll see.
They're okay with
I
that?
would love to. I'm already at 30 weddings next year.
I was just
so-
gonna ask, what are you at next year?
30 weddings
And how
so
many did
far,
you
and I
do
have
this year?
5 I'm meeting this week. This year I did 20, so
Nice.
yeah. But
That-
I'm
yeah,
on
that's
route.
that's the whole point. You know, you're doing good when you see that the steps going up,
yes,
right?
Yes. But that was
We did a
including-
lot this
Well,
year.
that was including shooting for you, 20
Yeah.
weddings. So that wasn't just So I'm already
We
over what I
did-
this year, but
Unplanned weddings where the client booked you and then they
Yeah.
booked me. We did at least, I think, half
so
my
many.
weddings.
Yeah. So we worked so much. This was a good
Katarina.
year.
She
It
was
was
at
a fun
all the ones
year.
I were at except 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
the last one we did was
We did a few.
Marco's and Katarina's.
Where they kicked us out of the table.
Yeah, that one girl.
Oh yeah, that one.
Let's
lady.
not talk about it.
Yeah,
That was the last one we did,
and
yeah.
it
We
was
did
like
do
by
a lot.
fluke though. Like it's not even like
No.
we booked together.
It's because
like,
it's
you're
all from
hired, I'm hired.
Instagram.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So
yeah.
like, post everything on Instagram.
Yes.
People will see it and then tagging, and then that's how they saw.
The power of stories. I post
yeah,
you guys in my
stories are
stories all the
huge.
time, and that's why
Stories
I do
are
it.
huge.
Yeah.
That's
so-
why every time I post something, I say hashtag whatever it's about.
Absolutely.
Man, it's weird because I got a
Reach is
message
crazy.
today, and this guy messaged me. He's an editor for Sportsnet, I
Yeah.
think, and he's like, "Man, I've been a huge follower, and like I want to shoot with you sometime." I'm like, "Holy crap!" Like it's like you don't see them until they
Yeah.
come out,
Yeah.
and it's like, "Where were you?"
Yeah.
Because
He was in that following, and I had no idea.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's where I don't know, like maybe on a bigger scale from like Peter McKinnon, like or whatever.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
they see our messages, but like us being not as big as they
Man,
are,
they probably get like
we
100 a
enforce
day.
that you
Oh,
guys like contact us.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah. It's
Why was
weird,
that
but it's
shoot?
cool in a way.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because you're not used to getting
Yes.
that respect, not respect, but like getting that
The response
attention,
type
that
of
response.
attention, yeah.
You know what happened to me one day at a Supercrawl? Is that Supercrawl? I'm walking. You can ask Aaron about this. Aaron and Rachel I was with. Shout out to
Oh my
Aaron
God,
and
it's
Rachel.
Katie.
Yeah, we were literally walking down the street, and someone comes up to me, and they're like, "Oh my God, like you're Katie Murray Photography." I'm like, yes, hello, nice to meet you.
I'm more popular than I thought.
And she's like, you have no idea who I am, but like I've been following you for so long.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I can't believe I'm meeting you right now. And I'm like, oh my god.
Can I sign? Can I sign?
Yeah, I was like, and then I look at Aaron and I'm like, is this my first fan? Oh my god,
Yeah.
this
That
is so
happened to
exciting.
him after the Club Roma one. Remember at Augusta? That guy's like, yo, you're Peter DeBusso.
Oh, our Webby visuals. I
yeah,
think.
that guy. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Ryan,
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, oh man, like I'm whatever he's saying his Instagram name, and then I'm like, oh, we should shoot one day. I'm like, oh man, like, and then I look back on Instagram, I'm like, oh, it's this guy. It's like, you know, we're all like real humans, and then we have this Instagram account under us.
And I follow so many people too, and it's like I'm a huge fan of their work, and then it's like when you see them in person, it's like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
I know you. And so it's cool. It's cool when people recognize you, and especially when all my stuff went viral that 1 month that it just blew up. Like
What, this?
all this,
Yeah.
we'll explain that.
Yeah, that will come up after the next question.
Yeah.
What is like the worst and best scenario you've been in a wedding
In a wedding.
that you shot?
Okay, in a wedding.
I remember you just posted something about people coming in the aisle.
Yeah, we were
That's obvious, 'cause everybody hates
yeah,
that.
that's the worst
With
thing
an
ever.
iPad or
Oh.
phone, but what would be your
the
other
worst thing?
worst and best?
Okay, worst thing was when my bride this year gave herself a black eye.
How'd you
Right
know?
before we left for the ceremony.
What?
So
Oh my goodness.
we were about to go outside and take the champagne pictures. You know, when you
Oh.
bring everybody out, do they champagne popping? And we were waiting on one of the bridesmaids, and she's like, "Where's my last bridesmaid?" So we're waiting for it, but she took off the metal part of the champagne bottle.
Oh, dude.
The part that
I was
holds
joking.
it together, right? And I'm like,
my
oh, I was
goodness.
like, don't do that, don't do that. And we're waiting for the girl, so we're all just standing, like nobody's even in position at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and she's holding it, but she held the bottle faced like towards
Towards
her,
her.
face, so it exploded. The cap flew right into her eye,
Oh my
instant
God.
black eye.
Oh my
And
goodness.
this is like 5 minutes before we're ready to leave for the ceremony, so she's not even married at this point, hasn't even left her house at this point. And she gave
The
herself a
husband
black eye.
sees her like, who cares?
You know what? So the makeup artist thankfully was still
Covered it?
there. She didn't leave, so we just caked on the concealer. We put some Visine in her eyes to hide the redness.
Poor
And we
thing.
were icing it with peas, and you couldn't even tell. Like
That's
if you were to
awesome.
look at her, you could not even tell. And she handled it like a champ. She was like laughing it off. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I gave myself a black eye, ha ha ha!" Like not even caring. And I'm just looking at her like, if that was me, I'd be having a nervous breakdown at this point, giving myself a black eye. But she was so cool about it, and that was probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me at a wedding. Coolest thing that's happened. Ooh, I don't know. I've had some pretty cool stuff. Probably the picture that went viral. That was pretty cool. That was exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nugget one?
No, that was my groom when he was crying when his wife came.
Oh,
down
I
the
saw that.
aisle.
Oh,
Yeah.
the guy in the wheelchair.
Yes, yep.
Yes.
So they had a really
I
beautiful
forgot about that.
story
Oh, I think I did
with
see
it,
that, yeah.
and they were together for a super long time. And
It got posted on a lot of
It did.
blogs, too.
It went a Good Morning America Inside Edition, Daily Mail UK, Daily Mail
Wow.
US, all
Oh
over,
my gosh,
all
that's
over. Yeah,
crazy.
it got posted all over, and that was definitely the coolest moment because I remember I was in the aisle and I was shooting the wedding on my own, no second shooter, and I was taking pictures of her when she was coming down the aisle, and then I heard him bawling, like hysterically crying behind me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna turn around quickly and take a picture of that. And I remember looking at the back of my camera, and I'm like, that is probably the single-handed most emotional picture I've ever taken in my career. Like, I got chills looking at it in that brief
Yeah.
second, and I knew right away, I'm like, wow, I just captured an entire story, like, in one picture.
Yeah.
So that was probably the coolest moment. Aside from that, like, another cool moment is when they thanked us at the speech, me and Aaron, and the whole place, like, started cheering us on. It
Oh,
was
really?
like,
That's
we want to
awesome.
thank our photographers,
That's
Katie and Aaron, and then, like, it was a moment of silence, and then it was just, like, total cheersing, and everybody was, like, screaming, like, yeah, and I was like, wow, that was
You don't
pretty
get
cool.
that often where they give you thanks,
You
eh?
don't get that, and when you do get the little thank you, but it was just so cool the way it was. Like, we had a whole
Yeah, that's
standing
awesome.
ovation for us,
And you're
I'm
like, what do I do? We're in the
wow.
middle of the
Yeah.
hall taking
Yeah.
pictures.
Little wave.
We're standing there taking pictures of it, and I'm like, hello to everybody. But yeah, so that was a nice
cool.
moment. But yeah, definitely top moment this year, I'd say, would be definitely that picture that I took.
Yeah.
That was
What
the
would you think
coolest.
it would be? Is not bigger, but more of a proud moment? That photo of the one of the guy in the wheelchair,
Yeah.
or
Chicken
this?
nuggets.
I I don't know. I'd say on an emotional level, the groom
for
photo
sure.
would definitely top.
Yeah, 100%.
On a crazy, can't believe McDonald's reached out to us after would be this one.
This is like more of an accomplishment.
Yes.
The other one would be like something a little
the
bit.
other one was more of like
intimate thing?
Exactly,
Yeah.
like just the timing of the photo and the way it turned out. This would be something more that I set up myself.
Yes.
So yeah, that would probably be.
How
one
did
of
you?
the
How did this get on there?
Yeah, like
How did this get like?
did you put
the
the
heck?
in there?
The Hamilton to
let's,
wherever
like,
they are. How did this get there?
Let's give the people a little bit of a backstory. So we're looking at a picture right now of chicken nuggets and an engagement ring inside the chicken nuggets. That
They look good. I'm hungry.
shot. So one of my couples.
DJ's like zoning out about this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
I
this.
should have brought you
Chicken
guys
nuggets.
chicken wings instead, or chicken nuggets. So my couple, we were planning our engagement session. They booked me for their wedding, and I get the complimentary engagement session with it. So we were planning their engagement session. And I'm like, what do you guys like? Like, what are things that you guys like to do? And she's like, we really love chicken nuggets. Like, she loved
that's dope.
chicken nuggets. Like, that was her thing. And she's like, I really want to include chicken nuggets in our photo shoot. And she texted me that about a week before the shoot. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's roll with it. Whatever. And I thought instantly, I'm like, why don't we play it off like an expecting photo shoot?
Yeah.
Like, the parents when they're like holding the little shoes, I got them to hold the nugget.
Oh.
The picture where they're both holding the nugget?
Yeah.
That was like if they were holding little shoes, and like he's I got her to hold the nugget and he's looking at it like, oh my gosh, like kind of made it seem like they're expecting like a food baby. That was my like vision behind the
That's
whole
nice.
thing.
Yeah, it's
And we ran with it. That was taken like right in the middle of Gore Park, downtown Hamilton.
Oh,
We
okay.
did most of these, and then we went to a forest, and
Does
I don't know, we ran with it, and we were doing funny things, and I did not think at all that this was gonna blow up like it did.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a funny picture, get a couple likes on Instagram. There you go, Katie's
And
happy.
you got the.
Yeah, we'll play it here.
You have.
I think it's playing right now. Yeah, it's gonna go.
You have
Oh, right
the,
there.
The
That's
courtesy of
empty.
Katie Marie Photography on the bottom.
So it was featured on the Doctors today, which was really cool. They did a whole little
Right there.
segment
right there.
on it. This was featured everywhere too.
Say
So
it
the
with
crazy
nuggets.
the craziest thing about this though, so when that groom picture went viral, this happened 2 weeks later. So here I am
gosh.
going crazy, and I swear to God, I woke up and I had calls from New York, I had calls from Germany, I had calls from somewhere in British, like somewhere in England or something,
Yeah.
and they're all calling me. They're like, we're from blah blah blah, we would love to feature your story, and like they're like telling me how to do this and like all this stuff. I got
Yeah.
paid for a lot of it too,
Oh,
which is
really?
really
Oh, nice,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, you do
That's
get paid
awesome.
for it. But it was crazy. Like I remember laying there and I'm just like looking at my phone in the morning. Oh, you missed a call from New York, and I'm from this and this and this, and I'm on Wall Street and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, Mama, I made it.
I remember you posted that.
The
Mama,
telemarketer
I
stuff,
made
I
it.
remember.
So here I am, and I'm like already on the wave of the first viral round,
yeah.
And
and
then
then
just
2
keep going
weeks
up after
later,
that.
Another-
a whole other set of images go viral, and I'm on Daily Mail again, and I'm on Good Morning
Did you
America
notice
again.
anything with like social media, like anything changing?
A following count went
Emails?
huge. Yeah.
Inquiries?
So I got a lot of inquiries from that too. People will come up to me and be like, "You're the nugget photographer."
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm the
"Yeah,
nugget."
that's me." But yeah, so it was crazy that happened 2 weeks after. And then the coolest part about it was we got when I posted the picture, I told everybody to tag McDonald's. I'm like, "Why?"
Oh, McDonald's posted it.
Yeah, so
posted on
McDonald's,
theirs. That's
after
awesome.
all our tags, they ended up seeing it. They ended up messaging
Oh,
me.
yeah, I
they
remember.
posted it in their stories.
That was like in the summer, right?
It was. It was
Yeah.
back in the summer, and I thought, oh, great, like McDonald's, what the heck? That's awesome. I thought
cool.
it was going to end there. No, it did not. McDonald's actually reached out to the bride and groom, and they donated a entire
For the wedding,
table, a midnight buffet of like
Oh my
burgers.
God,
So they
that's
had
like- burgers?
burgers, nuggets, everything.
Nugget.
So
Oh
they
my
had
God.
like
I
McChickens,
wish I was shooting that wedding.
McDoubles. They had nuggets and all the sauces. Like it was a total McDonald's table,
That's
complimentary. They made them these little signs that said like, "Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. McNugget." And
I've
yeah,
seen
they
that. Yeah, that's
they
awesome
catered
on social
everything.
media,
So
yeah.
that was probably the coolest thing that has happened to me this far. And that's been like the gift that keeps on giving. So today it was featured on the Doctors, and it's just never ending. And I'm alright with that. That's okay.
Was the midnight? Did they know about the midnight table before?
They
the wedding?
did. So the
Oh,
bride and
okay.
groom knew about it, and she told me, she's like, "You're gonna freak. McDonald's is donating a midnight buffet table
That's
for us,"
awesome.
and I'm like, "Wow."
That's awesome.
I had a
That's
couple
so cool.
more questions I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you.
I got one too, actually.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what do you think differentiates you from like other wedding photographers?
Other wedding photographers? Ooh.
Like, why do you think people choose Katie Marie over
I think
other
because I
companies.
take a different approach, and somebody told me this the other day and it kind of hit home. There's like lifestyle photographers that are fun and they get like really candid laughing shots. Then there's the really posed photographers who are like
Yeah.
super stiff and posing. I'm kind of like an in-between of both.
In-between,
So
yeah.
I
That's a
make
perfect
them
spot to be, I think.
exactly. So I have the candid style, but it tells a story in like a moody romantic way, and that's what I'm going for. And so I asked people the other day on Instagram, I'm like, can you tell me 3 words that describe my style?
Yes.
A lot of people said storytelling, and that's exactly what I wanted. So
exactly.
when you're looking through my gallery, I don't want to just say like, ah, yeah, these pictures are cool. Like, I want you to start from the beginning of the day and feel like you were there. So even if
Yeah,
you don't
so
know the
the
bride and
progression.
groom, like, you can go through a gallery, and by the end of it, you know them, and you're crying along with all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, and I think that, especially in our area and the photographers around, that's a huge differentiating factor, because I do
a good
try to
one.
tell a story rather than just take pictures.
I think another reason why you're different from other photographers, you're friendly, you're funny, especially when
I
you
like
work.
to think I am. Thank you.
Hey, you're fun to work with.
And yeah, I mean, man, like when we worked together, we had fun.
We had
like Suzanne's
so
wedding.
much
Suzanne's
fun.
wedding was
Honestly?
it didn't even feel like shooting a wedding.
When I have to work with other videographers that I don't know, do you know how much I miss you guys?
Yeah.
You have no idea. Like, I'll just stand there, I'm like, I miss Peter. Like,
Yeah, Peter.
these people are stepping in my photos, they're getting in my
Oh,
way. Come
and that's
on.
another reason why. That's another reason why me and you work together. Is
Yes.
because we work together on the shot.
I think that differentiates you is, and you're the first person I've seen do this, because I don't really look at a lot of wedding photography
Yeah.
photos, was your style of color grading too. Like,
I was just gonna
Yes.
say.
with the warmer tint, the
Yes.
more yellow, warmer tint.
And I feel like
didn't think that's
after
new for
I
wedding.
feel like you did that look first.
Yeah. Like, I never
Not
seen
not
anything
not
like that.
not that like you're the only one who's doing that,
Yep.
but out in this area, and then
Yeah,
I started
for sure.
noticing that
Oh,
a lot of other
yeah.
a lot of other photographers are trying to go for that look,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like this kind of relates to the second podcast we're talking. It's just like create your own look.
You
Yeah.
have to be
You know, like I think
your
Grady
own.
established that look for herself.
Yeah.
And then when other photographers try to get that look, it's
It
like
doesn't work.
I think there's like a few, they are presets, but a few looks,
Yeah.
and you know, like there's so many other different ways to approach it.
Yeah.
And it's just, I feel like that's your
Absolutely.
alleyway there, and then when people kind of get in there, it's almost like, oh, is this Katie's work, or is
Yeah.
this like, oh, it almost looks
Yeah,
like
there's
hers.
Yeah.
a few times I've seen him like, is that Katie's shot? And then I go look at somebody else's.
Yeah.
And like,
I've been told that a few times, actually.
I know with my when I'm like editing photos, I just look to see if it's good, but like sometimes mine end up turning out not like yours, but like other people's. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not my style, but like I made it,
Yeah.
it off from scratch. You know what I mean, this is the way I like it. It looks,
Yeah.
and that's it, right?
And
So-
that's the best piece of advice I give anybody starting out in photography. So what I did when I started, I would buy presets, buy everybody's presets. I'd find a photographer that I'd like, and I'd buy their presets thinking, hey, if I buy their presets, my pictures are going to look as great as theirs.
Exactly.
And bam, there you go. It doesn't work that way. So all the presets I were buying were toned towards like Canon cameras.
Yeah,
Here
and it's
I am
not just
shooting
like every time
Sony.
you shoot a wedding, you click that
Yeah.
preset and it goes. It's just
Exactly.
like, because it's a different situation, cloudy, sunny, trees.
There's so many different things that you learn about photography, but I think when you're new to it, you kind of think the preset is like the one-click wonder to solve all your problems, and it's not. And I would play around with it
And
for
a lot of
hours.
people do that.
Yeah, and I would sit there and I'd try to get my pictures to look a certain way, and I'm like, why doesn't mine look like this person's? And I'm trying so hard. And once I stopped doing that, and I just said, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna go make my own, and I'm just gonna use my own from now on. That's when it evolved into like my own little style, and it just
Yeah.
it stuck with me, and I really enjoy the way my pictures turn out now. And once I got to that point where I liked what I saw,
Yeah.
I saved it as my own preset after like months of I think I worked on my preset for like 2 years. Like
Yeah.
it was a work in progress.
Of
and
course.
now
Yeah,
I
it's
have it
your
down.
look.
That's what I have to
Exactly.
do.
And now I have it down to a science where I shoot a certain way in camera, and now I can put my preset on and it works on every single picture. So
I still have to play with
have
mine,
to-
like
yeah.
blue and yellow, or my color temperature.
yep.
Oh, the
Like
white.
sometimes it's so yellow, but when I move to blue, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like a more
Not,
golden.
yeah, it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
It all depends. Like,
It depends on the setting,
Yeah.
right? And the environment, if it's a sunny day.
yeah, and even your white balance and your profiles and it, like there's a lot of stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bringing up your pet peeve.
Oh.
I know we talked about it a little
Ooh.
bit, but like,
What
That-
pet peeve? There's so many.
okay. Okay, let's talk about pet peeves.
So let's
At
talk about
weddings.
all your pet peeves.
This is for everyone who's going to be dealing with us, and not only us, even all
Yeah.
videographers.
So,
and
like, this is a
photographers.
perfect example why future clients are going to come look at this,
Yep.
and they're going to be like, oh, you know, like, I like her personality.
Mm-hmm.
I like the style you work, and personality is huge, obviously, when you're booking a wedding.
You're selling yourself. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you're
Exactly.
a business. Anybody can take a pretty picture, but we are stuck with these clients
Yes,
from
all
morning
day.
to night. And you have to pick somebody who you're going to be comfortable spending 12 hours a day with
Yep.
and not feel uncomfortable with them. So at the end of the day, that is a huge selling factor. And I've worked with other photographers who second shot for me, and they're very timid, and I'd tell them to take a group and do something, and they didn't really know what to do, and they're very like quiet and
Yeah,
afraid
you
to
gotta
take
push them.
charge. You have to take charge. Like, I will push people out of my way to get my shot. Like
Yeah,
that. I just
of
you
course.
have to have that type of personality where you're okay to walk into a room and direct 100 people. Like you have to be okay
Yep.
with that. And yeah, it's huge. Personality is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the main thing too, that you have to try and sell yourself as a person. I don't want to be somebody I'm not, because you're gonna figure out who I am on the day of.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if I'm faking it on Instagram, like that's not what I want to do.
No,
So
you wanna be
I am
real,
me.
yeah.
Have you ever been told to move out of the way?
Oh yeah, and I get right back in their face and I'm like, you get out of my way, buddy.
got
Are
it.
you
We-
paid to do this? No.
We got a good one. Remember what happened to us? The last wedding?
Yeah, the last one. Well, you gotta go out for me.
So like I'll tell the story. So
Give me the lowdown.
we were shooting the speeches,
Yep.
and we were kind of in the middle of the dance floor, which is no big deal because dances weren't happening.
Yep.
And we had a light right next to us and the tripod shooting them talking. DJ was doing it, and then I was out of the dance floor.
You were facing the bride and the groom.
Yeah.
He was getting the reaction, and
Okay.
I
I was getting
shooting
reaction.
speeches.
Yep.
And then I went to go get my camera because I know the first dance was happening.
Yep.
And then I'm sitting there leaning on the light, just waiting for it to end. And then DJ was going to clear the dance floor. And then the one guy comes up to me and he's like, "You guys are just as good as windows as doors," or something like
You
that.
guys make
What?
better doors than windows.
Yeah,
or
you guys
something.
make better
you
doors than windows.
serious?
I'm like, what's that 65-year-old analogy? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm like,
does sound
oh,
like a
and I
grandpa
pretended
thing.
to know that I knew what he was saying. He's
Yeah.
like, okay. And then he's like, get him to move out of the way.
Oh,
and
wow.
then I knew,
He came up to me.
and then I knew what it was about because he was right in front of this guy, which was sitting down.
Yep.
But we're not there for you to see. We're there to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
They're paying us to shoot.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, does he need to stand by the camera? Can you tell him to move out of the way? And he didn't even do it nice. He did it rude.
And that's the whole thing, the tone.
And then
Yeah.
I looked at him and I gave him a smirk. I'm like, you know what? If you asked me nicely, maybe I would have.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have anyways.
I ended up moving.
After the speech,
Yeah.
though. I wouldn't have done it anyways
during
because
the-
it was recording.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
1, 2, we wouldn't move out of the way because it's recording. We got to stand by it just to make sure the batteries don't die, the memory card gets
Kids
full.
running around.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
he's sitting there staring and looking at me. And I'm just like giving him a smirk. I'm like, I'm not moving, man.
No, the couple is your main priority.
Yes.
Like I tell people that, like, I don't care about, like, not that I don't care about your guests, but like I'm here to do something for
Yeah.
you. Like I'm here to photograph your
Yeah.
day. I am not gonna miss a moment because Uncle Tom behind me couldn't
I'll
see.
call him Bob, Uncle Bob.
Bob.
This
Uncle
one looks like a
Bob.
Bob. He was a Bob for sure.
Yeah, well, speaking of Uncle Bob's, like, there's been so many times where, like, I'll see people hanging out of the aisle with their cameras.
Oh,
They're, like,
the best is with the
entry-level
iPads.
DSLRs, iPads, yeah, and I see them and I scope them out. So I had a little bit of downtime
post it.
before the ceremony starts. I go right up to them and I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're going to take photos, you need to go to the side of the
Yeah.
room or go to the back because you cannot be
And
in
no
my
flash
line
for
of fire.
sure.
No flash
Because I know you don't
photography.
like using flash.
I don't. If I don't have to use flash, I don't use
Yeah,
flash.
which-
I only
yeah,
use it
which
at the
is-
reception. But yeah, so if they're in my line of fire, I'll tell them. And I had one guy once who he's like, okay, yeah, no problem. The minute bride and groom comes out,
Boom.
he's out in the aisle, sticking his head out in the aisle. So I went up to him again. I'm like, I'm gonna give you one more warning. You need to put that away, or you need to go to the side because you're not.
Or
gonna
I'm not
jeopardize
going
my
to shoot.
pictures.
I'm going to stop
Yeah.
shooting.
And
then you can tell them
and
why
I told him,
done.
and I'm like, you are going to ruin this for this bride and
For
groom
them,
right
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So if you want to deal with unhappy bride and groom coming after you for ruining their pictures, you're gonna put that away and you're
Yeah.
gonna step to the side. And he looked at me, he's like,
What,
oh, okay.
what I do a couple times is I actually tell the priest.
Yeah. Unplugged
Because it's
ceremonies.
even worse for
Huge.
video, no flash, because we can actually
Yeah.
see it in the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And I tell the priest, I think they take it a little bit more serious if the priest says it
They
because
do.
it's his church.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they
Or
do.
he's there, it's his
Yeah.
time.
Well,
of-
man, last time we had the priest wouldn't even let us go like anywhere near the
Oh.
altar.
Oh, really?
The one at St. Mary's. I think it's St. Mary's,
I don't
the
know if
Portuguese one.
Oh, yeah. I
No,
have
was
a
it-
client that says that they're
was
not
him.
even letting photographers come
Yes.
into St. Mary's.
I wasn't
yeah.
that one. It was the
Yeah.
one that we did the last one. Remember we had to stay. I had to stay up
Oh
on
yeah, but
thing,
the one at St. Mary's is worse.
and that girl got in your way.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Oh my god. So we were in the aisle and they just got married and they were coming down the aisle.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there on the tripod in the middle of the aisle trying to get them, and the photographer comes in front of me. She looks at me. She walks back and then she turns around. She just continues shooting. And I'm like, did you not see me?
No.
I mean, I know.
You left the recording though.
I'm
so-
like, I left it recording just
Something
because
Yeah.
she knows.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I don't want to get in your shot, and that's what I'm trying to do, stay back. And I can get a good shot by staying back.
yeah, exactly.
But what she does, she doesn't even care.
She doesn't care. She goes in front of you.
No.
And I've had video do that to me too, and that's when I miss you guys.
I don't think I've ever
will
done
with
that
you.
because I know what it feels like.
Yes. Yes.
Because like relating from photo and video, but it's just like, it's rude.
I've had a team that I worked with where they just did not want to cooperate with me. They barely spoke English.
Oh,
They
okay.
would take things and like run off with it, like the ring and stuff. And I'm like, come on, like we're supposed to be a team here. And
Yeah.
I'd go up to him and I'd be like, where are you guys standing? And he'd tell me one spot, and then he'd stand a whole other spot in front of me, and then wouldn't get out of my way. And I'm like, okay, I have tried to work with you
Yeah.
all day, and if
You're
you're
doing
not
your
gonna
own
work
thing
with
now.
me, then I am just gonna work against you right now.
Yes.
So we were like fighting over areas, and it's not good. So you want to pick a team that
Yeah.
can actually work together, and do not hire friends to do video
No.
at your wedding who don't know how to do it, because I had somebody
Those are
go
worse.
right up in front of the first kiss, and he did like travel videos or whatever, right? And he's
Yeah.
right up in there. I swear to God, he was maybe this far away from them during
Oh
the
my
first kiss,
gosh.
and nobody could see. He blocked everybody's shots. He got in all of our shots. That was the one you did with me. You were second shooting for me that day. Do you remember that video, guy?
Oh, that's when they came
Yes.
back late.
Was it, you're doing photos?
I was. It was like my first time
It
second
was
shooting.
2 years
Oh,
ago. It
okay.
wasn't this year.
It was
the
that
year
was like
before.
right when I got my 1DX.
Yes, yeah. I remember you were on one side, I'm on the other side. We're like, where do we go? This guy's right in our way. Yeah,
Yeah.
that. So don't ever bring friends to do
No.
video.
Oh my goodness. it'd be
Hire
so
us
Don't.
professionals.
Yes, it's worth it.
Quality over, quality over quantity.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
but-
I mean, would you rather 1,000 photos and shitty quality, or would you like 500 photos and top-notch colored
Yeah, exactly.
photos?
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I
Choose
mean?
quality anytime,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's one day. Don't cheese out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make
Exactly.
sure you trust the people.
Get a
that
zoom
you hire.
lens.
Yeah. Oh.
Get a 70
Yeah.
to 200 and
Oh, I have that
Just
thing.
take
Oh
that
my
thing,
gosh. Oh, you want to know something funny about my 70 to 200? Quick story. So I wear the hold fast, where I wear two cameras at
Yeah,
once,
the
right?
harness,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so during a ceremony, I'd have my 70 to 200 on my left side, and it kept bumping into my leg, right? And so for a couple months, like I'd have this weird bruise on my leg, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I dying? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's from
is it
the-
a blood clot? And then I realized the frickin' 70 to 200 kept whacking into my leg because it's so big that it caused
Because you have like
Yeah.
that dual
a
vest
birth-
thing.
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
that
from wearing it on my
straps.
thing.
Like
so,
the Texas.
so
This is-
yeah, and I'm so small. I'm like 5 foot
thing was
nothing. So
expensive.
it just kept whacking the heck out of me. And yeah, I'm ready to sell that thing. And I think I'm gonna get the 135. I think that's what I might switch
135?
to.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Doesn't it have like some macro? Or I think
Oh,
the
you mean
Canon one
the
does.
lens.
No,
sorry.
the lens. Yeah. Aaron has it, and it's really nice.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, yeah. So I use that sometimes when he shoots, but
Nice.
it's so light. It's like this big, and it's a zoom.
Oh, really?
You can get. It's more for the expressions, right?
Yeah,
To get
Yeah,
close
true.
up on people's
What is that,
faces.
an F2?
I think so.
Must
I
be.
think so.
It must
I
be a 2 or
think-
2.8. I don't think it would go lower.
I don't know. I think G Master might have came out with one that's 1.8. I don't know.
Really?
I think so. I think I heard talk about that. I'd have to double check, but
That's cool.
it's the new craze in Sony world.
Wow.
In Sony land, everybody's talking about it. So
I want to get I think I want to get a new camera now.
get a Sony.
I'm debating, man. I'm
I switch
debating.
everybody.
I'm
Once you go
debating.
Sony, you never
It's
go
either-
back.
I like the Sony. The Sony's awesome because I tried it from Andre.
Yeah.
But like I like that 4K 60, and especially
Do
the
they have 4K 60s?
no, the A7S III is supposed to do something crazy, but we don't know yet. But like
Yeah.
the reason why I got the GH5S is because it does like the 10-bit
Yeah,
in
yeah,
4K 24. But I think I don't know. It's all preference on what look you're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I know, like, you can manipulate. See, for me, I don't know how the profiles. I haven't looked at Sony too much,
Yeah.
other than like what you guys have posted. But like,
Yeah.
the profile, the coloring is a little bit different compared
You'll
to
have
Canon.
to do all new presets and LUTs and everything.
Yeah,
you
I
need
don't
But
know.
there's like so many ways to get Canon colors from Sony.
you can.
There's so
Yeah.
many ways.
Yeah.
I remember I bought like this EOS HD color hack. It was like $15, and it's like boosting contrast and all this stuff to get these colors from
Yeah.
from a Canon, because Canon is known for the colors,
Those
their
colors,
color
yeah.
science, and their focus tracking. Sony's
Yeah.
known for like their low light
Low light.
capability.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, low light is
Sony kills low
unbelievable.
light.
Sony
Like,
does.
And the Lumix is
unbelievable.
pretty good too.
Yeah,
The
I don't know.
I
if
barely
it's-
use flash anymore, guys. Honestly,
Yeah.
even at receptions,
Don't
if
have
it's
to.
bright and if you're there with these lights,
Oh,
I
you
never
love
use
these lights,
flash.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love them.
These lights are awesome.
These lights have done wonders.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta get a set of these too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's good for this
Yeah,
podcast.
That was a good talk.
I
What
think
are we
we
at?
should.
How long have we been doing
We
this?
No idea.
I started at 8:15, so we're at 45 minutes.
Nice!
47
Guys, I can talk
minutes,
to all day.
Yeah. Katie's like, I'm so excited. I love talking.
I love it. Yeah, first thing I said to Peter when I got here, I'm like, I love to talk. I'm so ready for
I
this.
heard you downstairs.
So stay tuned for next week's podcast.
Yeah, and if you guys want to check out Katie on Instagram at Katie Marie _.
It's Katie
Sorry,
Marie
Katie-
Photography, then the
Underscore.
underscore.
We'll
The-
have her-
the Katie Marie Photography was taken, so I had to
Yeah.
do next best. That's the
Next
tongue
best.
twister.
It's okay. You know how many times we've screwed up on talking about
Yeah,
bad.
it's
I'm
actually
shocked
good.
I didn't do
it's like
more.
raw.
it?
It's
That's
good.
okay.
We'll have her link in the Instagram and website, and then our social media.
Yeah, we'll have it all in the
We'll have
description
it all there.
below on
Yeah, go
YouTube.
follow
and
their
we'll also post
podcast.
the link of the.
The doctors.
The doctors.
Episode.
Yeah.
The couples gets engaged with the help of chicken.
It only
Chicken
has
nugget couple.
642 views, but they got 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they
It was
post
on
later.
TV.
I think
today,
it just got
though.
posted, so it must.
It literally got posted this afternoon.
Refresh it. See, I bet you some more.
So 642. Still 642. I think it's
Kind of
doing
loading.
it's doing a YouTube thing weird.
It was on TV though. Like it was
Yeah,
live
today I
streamed
remember.
on TV.
I remember you
so-
saying that on your story
Yeah.
there. Yes.
All right, so we're gonna end it there. We'll see you guys next week, and stay tuned for more podcasts.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Take it
having
easy.
me, guys.
See ya. See ya. See ya. See ya. All angles.